So after the dramatic finish to Gold Coast Marathon, where I embraced the struggle and made pain my friend, I just about managed to dip under the 2:20 barrier. It was technically my slowest marathon time, but after a turbulent training block that saw me nearly become an amputee, this result was one of my best performances to date. I left it all out on the course, but at what cost? This is the aftermath. Now in this post-Gold Coast debrief video, I'm going to be answering the questions that you guys sent in on Instagram. That's probably the best place to keep up to date with what's going on in between these weekly videos. And again, we had a ridiculous amount of question submissions, so I'm going to be picking out the most popular, collating them and answering them today. And if you stay till the end of the video, then I'll be revealing what my next race is. But let's start off in chronological order. Let's take it back to before the marathon, talking about the training block, the taper. I had some people asking, do you think I overtrained coming in, and did I taper enough for Gold Coast? So was I overtrained? Well, to put it simply, no. If anything, it was a complete opposite. I was probably massively undertrained coming in. It was the lowest mileage block by far because it was so disrupted with the hospital saga that it meant even with a couple 300k weeks in there, it was nowhere near enough to get into my best shape. So I definitely wasn't cooked coming in. And I kind of thought that I'd leave the taper late because I was trying to make up for lost time, trying to squeeze in a few extra sessions. There was no point in me hitting a 3-week taper when I'd only been back running about 3 weeks. But I did film that final session in Japan, the sweaty goodness, before heading out here to Australia. So let's throw it back to there and see what that looked like. Right, I've got the final taper session now. On paper, I feel like these taper sessions always feel so calm. I'm like, yeah, light work, don't even need to worry. And as soon as you get going, it's like, it's actually a little tough this. So got to grind this one out. I've got 3x2k in kind of 3:05. So maybe around that sort of half marathon effort. I like to put a little bit more speed in before a marathon, just so hopefully then the marathon pace feels easy enough. And I'm hoping the weather, once I get over there, is just gonna be a game changer because if you can see right now, just from the warm up, I'm absolutely dripping. I feel like I say this every video now, but it really is horrendous here. Yeah, if you guys want a little taste of Japan in summer, then whack a treadmill in the sauna, pump the heat up to max, and enjoy the sweat fest that ensues. Oh Jesus, that was even harder than expected. Ended up actually just being flat out 3x2k. There was no taper, no control at all there. So unbelievably hard. Get me out of this hellhole. Bring on the Gold Coast. And thank God the icy shores of the Gold Coast delivered with Arctic-like 20-degree race conditions. I mean, yeah, it was still 20 degrees hotter than I'd ideally like, but compared to what I'd trained in, it was heavenly. So now let's talk about during the race, Gold Coast Marathon. Well, definitely one of the most common questions I was getting was about the mysterious patch that I had on my arm. I had some pretty eagle-eyed viewers that realized it was a continuous glucose monitor that I was wearing. So firstly, no, I'm not diabetic, but actually my dad is. And because he was here, he suddenly had an idea before the race. He was like, why don't you whack one of my spare monitors on so we can track my sugar level throughout the race, so I can see with the carb I load the night before how much I took in, and then breakfast in the morning, gels throughout the race, how was my sugar level? Was it stable? Was I underfueled, overfueled? Now, ever since last year's Gold Coast Marathon, which I guess was my proper marathon debut, I've always been so conscious of the fueling, because during that race, I'm massively underfueled and tanked in the last couple 10K. It's quite funny looking at a comparison from last year's Gold Coast, the finish, to this year. I just looked so much stronger kicking home. But I think during this race, I might have actually slightly overdone the carbs. I was feeling pretty full, like heavy throughout. And even towards the end, I was finding it difficult just taking any more gels or drinks. And that was pretty much confirmed with the data from this monitor. So my sugar level was actually pretty high throughout. There was definitely no dip whatsoever. Like I got that big carb I load in, and I pretty much kept it throughout the race. Because what I was doing for fueling during it was I had these bottles, so every 5K for the elite runners, we get bottles. And inside this, I was alternating between the Bix Original and the Bix Caffeine. And the good thing about these as well, they had electrolytes in as well as the carbs. So with it being so humid and sweaty, you're losing so much salts through the sweat. So it's quite good that you can top up at the same time with these. And each one of these has 36 grams of carbs. What I was doing was splitting, so half of one of these in each bottle every 5K. And then I was also strapping a gel to the bottle like that. And this was more a sort of backup, because I was finding if you have loads of drinks, that can obviously sit pretty heavy, whereas these are a little bit more solid, chunky. And I'm pretty sure across the race, I definitely got over over 100 grams of carbs an hour. And I think I could probably take it a little more easy next time just to save the stomach some trouble. But the Bix fueling was pretty perfect, having that combo of the mix and the gels. And these are easy to just whack in your pocket as well, like I do on training runs. You can actually get a discount, so it's 20% off with Run to Japan if you check out the Bix website. So it's just a little shout out to those guys for supporting me. Now, what about the race aftermath? I was a little bit shaky crossing the line, but this was actually the best state I've ever been in at the finish. I mean, come on, you should have seen Tokyo. And I seemed to bounce back remarkably quickly after Gold Coast. You're never gonna believe this, but it does actually help when you don't end up in the medical tent.
So it's a day after a marathon. I'm a little bit tired, but you know what? My body just walking around feels incredible. I mean, relative to other marathons where I can barely walk, every step's like someone's stabbing my quad. Right now, I actually don't feel too bad. And I'm wondering if it is because of the anemia that during the race, even though I'm absolutely killing myself, that's basically acting as a natural limiter. Like it's a limit to how hard I can actually push my body because there's just not enough red blood cells to like transport the oxygen around. So it's actually capping how hard I can go. So I'm gonna head out for a little run. It's a lovely little view, this. Yeah, I'm gonna miss this hotel a little bit when I go back to my tiny little Tokyo crib. But actually after this, we're going exploring around Australia. So I've got a 2-week holiday to enjoy this nice, cool weather. Oh, might have spoke too soon. The quads are absolutely battered. I think I'm the most quad heavy runner of all time. I find it impossible to activate my glutes, so they just don't get used. And it means that my quads just take all the pounding. Those thunder thighs just get annihilated on marathon day.
But then within a couple K, a miracle resurrection had occurred.
God, this is the quickest post-marathon run I've ever done. I don't think I've before ever been able to break 6-minute Ks or 10-minute miling. Whereas now, whew, I'm absolutely flying 5:30 Ks. This is unheard of. So the legs were a little bit cooked at first, but actually as I got going, I started feeling all right. Average for 5K, about 5 flats, which for me, after a marathon, is absolutely rapid. But just to speed up that recovery now, I've obviously got the most important part, the hotel buffet brekkie.
Bring on the carbo reload. So I cleaned up the buffet, mission accomplished. And that was a wrap on Goldie. Till next year, and it was straight on to Sydney where the adventure continues. But before we pick up there, I just want to say thanks to everyone for the mad support at the Gold Coast. And it's become impossible for me to reply to all the DMs and comments, but I tried to read them all and I really appreciate it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, then join the RTJ army now as we plow onwards towards 100K. So let's see what Sydney has to offer.
So we went on an Aussie food tour yesterday, checking out the local Scran. I know people love seeing the food. We were trying to come up with a name though. Obviously, you've got Scran to Japan. Scran to Oz, it's not quite the same. So we've come up with the rhyming genius Snack to Outback. I'm gonna be sampling some nutritious looking pastries. I had one of these yesterday. This one was the ginger brulee pistachio or something. Unbelievable. This was, I reckon, a 9.5 out of 10. Let's just give it a double check. Ridiculous. It's kind of like a pastry tart. You've got that creme brulee crispy top infused with ginger, vanilla custard in the middle. This one is absolutely ridiculous. And we also picked up a little matcha strawberry tart. So we'll see if this one is also up to the hype. Oh yeah, got that fresh strawberry in the middle, matcha cream, meringue top. So it's called Burke Street Bakery. Unbelievable levels. I think they may have just outdone the Scran to Japan, the Snack to Outback right here. You know, I've got to go back for another little bite. Come on. Oh, this might be the best pastry I've ever had. And I found it funny, whenever I do these food segments, some people are commenting like, I really think you should have some more veg in your diet, maybe eat some meat and stuff. As if you think I eat pastries for 3 meals a day. You realize this is like the 5%. The 95% is incredibly boring, just rice and noodles with fish, meat and veg. Clean eating, but then you've obviously got to make room for a little sweet treat. And that's the stuff that I've got to show on camera.
And in Sydney, we also hit up a Sky Tower buffet that overlooked the city, and this was unreal. Oh, no, I'm not talking about the view. No, who cares about that? I mean the array of Snack to Outback options available, which we obviously had to sample all of. So this entire holiday basically revolved around food. and the odd bit of running to avoid morbid obesity. And one of those runs was with you guys who showed up for a casual little group meetup and joined me for a few Ks around Centennial Park, which is a quality running spot. And it was class chatting with everyone. The Aussie support really is top tier. Now, I was pretty surprised that actually the most popular question by far was about the new shoes. People just seem to love a bit of shoe chat, and I guess before you've seen me rocking other brands, testing a whole lot of different shoes out, and then obviously for Gold Coast I was wearing these, the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5s, so they're new super shoe, and everyone wanted to know how did these compare to other shoes that I've worn before? Did I feel like I was at a disadvantage wearing these? Well, to be completely honest, I think nowadays all the brands are so good, like it's so competitive that everyone has a good racing shoe. And at that point, it basically just comes down to personal preference. So do you want a slightly softer shoe or a bigger heel drop? Like a lot of it comes down to feel. And for me, these were perfect. Like they felt great on race day. Definitely got no complaints about them. And it was actually the quickest I ever closed a marathon in those last couple Ks. Clearly there was a lot of pop still in these towards the end and they easily handled the marathon distance. So basically, yeah, to answer the shoe question, they delivered. They were light, reactive, and got the job done. Now, after ransacking every last food establishment in Sydney, our work here was done. And so we powered on towards Melbourne. So that's the next leg of the Ran to Australia tour. I feel like I've been traveling all over at the moment. I've bounced from Tokyo to Seattle, then back again to the Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne. It's a non-stop action-packed schedule, and I've actually just picked up a little bit of a cold, which is annoying. I think it's the combo of, yeah, traveling so much. You're always vulnerable then, and then these massive changes in temperature, like going from 35 degrees to about 5 right here now. A little bug has just caught me out of nowhere, but it actually ties into the question I've had about what supplements I take to try and stay healthy and injury free. So it's basically just these 5 here. I take the same stuff every single day. It's just fish oil for those omega-3. You've got L-carnitine. I can't remember what this does, but I just know that it's good for runners. I've been recommended it. So that's part of the routine in the morning, along with the B12. And then the final bit of the morning routine is the Pillar Performance. That's got the vitamin C, D3 and zinc in it. It's a nice little combo there. And I try to get most of my nutrition through like natural sources, like Scran every day, just eating all kind of different foods. But I think this little combo of vitamins is just a good top up because especially in winter, like you're just definitely not gonna get enough vitamin D. If you're living in the UK where it's just grey, cloudy and depressing for 6 months, you've not got a chance. And then obviously the vitamin C as well is good to try and battle the infections, illness. That's what at the moment I'm trying to load up on this. That's all I can do. And then the only thing I take in the evening is the magnesium. So I've got the Pillar Performance triple magnesium. That's meant to help with recovery and sleep. So it's nothing too fancy with the supplements. I reckon food, sleep, and then a few little extras like what I take. But if you guys are interested in picking up any of the Pillar Performance stuff, so that micronutrition side, then I've got a 15% discount code off of first orders. That's Ran to Japan. So check out their website if you want and get that clean, healthy supplements there. So that really just leaves the question of what's next? When's my next race? Well, you don't have to wait long because actually next week I'll be right here taking on the Run Melbourne 10K. So basically an all-out sprint for me. We'll see how I've actually pulled up from Gold Coast, how much the Thunder Thighs have recovered on the streets of Melbourne. Because my plan now for building up towards the next marathon is to copy a pretty similar formula to Tokyo. That marathon block worked near flawless. So again, I'm gonna attack the shorter distances first. I'll start with the 10K and then build up some halves, try and PB basically over all the shorter distances. Get my one singular fast twitch fiber working, put that to use, and that will hopefully unlock the next level of speed in the marathon to then go all out for a sub 210 later this year. So it's all to play for. Could this be the underdog story of the century? Well, you can follow it all along here on this channel. But this has been Jake with Ran to Japan. I'll see you in the next one. Remember, train harder, not smarter. Whoosh.